Right now, we're witnessing the beginning of the end of the internet. The UK, Australia, the European Union, and the USA have all coordinated a global effort to control the internet. With Spotify ID verifications, YouTube verifications, adult site verifications, Reddit verifications, and even VPNs potentially being illegal now. It seems like anything deemed unsafe by the government is now locked behind an age check. In the UK, websites like Reddit and X now legally have to ask for a picture of your face or a copy of your ID, and the US and the European Union are now set to pass similar laws, as we witness in front of our eyes a very quick coordinated attack on the internet. But to understand why this is really happening now, who is coordinating this, and why they're really doing this in the first place, we need to look at what's been secretly happening in the UK, as this is where it all started. Now, while ostensibly in place to protect the kids, the UK has introduced the Online Safety Bill, going into action at the end of July 2025. The government claims that this is just for kids to not watch adult content, but this act has been making headlines for other reasons instead.
No, you see, you gotta upload your driver's license to Spotify or else we won't be able to protect the kids.
First, there's the insanely wide net the UK government has thrown over the entire internet. You've got the obvious stuff blocked now like adult content sites, but it's extended way past that. Spotify users have been enraged after Spotify has confirmed the checks would extend to explicit music on the platform. And what's more is that the platform will also ban users that fail the checks or when Spotify thinks its users are underage. Discord is already asking for ID now to see channels that the server owner deemed as 18+ regardless of the content. YouTube is planning on asking for ID beginning in August. First, an AI will look at the content that you watch and then try to decide whether you're a kid or not. Watch too many Minecraft videos? You better watch out. At this point though, it should be pretty obvious that the measures are full of problems, the least being how useless it is for actually protecting children in the first place. Everyone under the age of 40 already knows how to get past any of this stuff. As long as at least one country somewhere in the world doesn't have these measures, using a VPN will get you past the age check. In fact, we've already seen this in action. The download numbers on various app stores have been going crazy. Proton VPN, just one of the many available options, saw a 1,800% increase in downloads when the act came into effect. And it isn't the only option either. Lots of people have found success circumventing the checks with random pictures or even screenshots from video games. So it's hard to see how the checks will ever be able to deal with AI generated faces or really any picture or 3D model of a face. It means that anyone who actually wants to get past the blocks, including children, easily can. The UK government knows this and already knew this before they passed the act. In fact, part of the act bars websites from suggesting a VPN as a way around it. So who are the only people that don't know about VPNs, that won't know how to install and use them? Well, older people, people who have been left behind by technology already. They're the ones who will blindly give away their ID and pictures of their face. Most will assume it's government guaranteed and safe, but of course, it really isn't. Instead, the law changes open the door to a set of corporate contractors. Unknown until now, internet users are expected to share their most confidential information with these companies just to use the internet. So who are these companies? Well, let's take a look at Persona, the company that Reddit and OpenAI have chosen to conduct their checks. Taken directly from their privacy policy, Persona securely stores all photos of identity documents that you upload, photos of your face that you upload, and data from scans of facial geometry. Persona also fails to tell people when verifying that third-party vendors can also have access to all of this, meaning they give it to a ton of other companies. What's more, those claims about immediately destroying the data are really nonsense. The privacy policy indicates that they don't even get rid of it for a whole 3 years. So if they make you verify your age again, the timer resets. And that 3 years is only if the government doesn't explicitly tell them to keep it, in which case they will. So just by looking at one of these companies tells you that they can keep it for pretty much however long they want. Then there's the fact that it doesn't really matter what these companies say anyway. They routinely underinvest in cybersecurity, which leads to massive data breaches all of the time. Then millions of people's data gets sold to the highest bidder. Literally days before this act even came into effect, the women's dating app T also had a massive data breach. The app was designed for women to gossip about men in a safe space, enforced through mandatory facial verification for users. T said in their privacy policy that they deleted all the verification images immediately. However, when the breach happened, tens of thousands of these images were stolen and leaked online. And it's just been one of the many data breaches this year. You clearly can't trust these corporate contractors, especially these small shady companies which have suddenly been given a guaranteed middleman spot by this new law. So because the government says so, people using the internet are now forced to give their ID to a selection of various companies who will share it with whomever they like and delete it when they feel like, if at all. In many people's opinions, it's the government itself that should be under scrutiny. They're the ones who should be treated like criminals, mainly because so many of them are actually criminals. There's been far too many scandals to count recently with Parliament. You've got the fraudulent PPE contracts, the expenses scandal, the breakdown of the S&P in Scotland for financial crime, just to name a few. And so if anyone should be getting monitored and surveilled, it's the people who wrote this law in the first place. Although we've just shown what almost everyone already knew about this, that this part of the Online Safety Act is useless because of VPNs. It's malicious because of the potential for data breaches, and hypocritical because of who it targets. And they already knew this before they passed it, it's just too obvious. So what's the real reason behind all of this? Well, a key aim of the Online Safety Act seems to be to control what adults view on the internet, based on their understandable hesitation to give away their picture and ID. You can draw this conclusion from what they've been using it to block. Lots of subreddits surrounding adult content were blocked by the act, of course, but lots of other ones were also caught in the crossfire. The Stop Smoking and Stop Drinking subreddits have been reported as being blocked to some users. And you'd think the UK government would want kids to have access to those resources, especially considering they let the vape companies get them all addicted years ago. Other potentially sensitive content is now being gated off. People have reported that X is blocking footage from immigration protests in the UK. A speech from a member of parliament was also blocked. It was about the horrific grooming gang scandal that's been rocking the UK recently. This is a clear example of harm being done to minors, yet the government chose to block people from discussing it. It's also been reported that posts about Gaza and Ukraine have been blocked as well. The danger lies in this escalating out of control. You give the government an inch and they'll take a mile, as we saw during COVID. And this law sets the precedent of handing over the power of censorship to algorithms. Algorithms and AI built and designed to follow broad guidelines dictated by the people in power. This is so dystopian, and yet nobody realizes the true extent of how bad the situation really is, as it matches up with other UK laws and measures designed to restrict people's freedoms. The UK and Apple have been in a massive battle for years over privacy. The UK is demanding that Apple let them have a backdoor into people's messages and private information. This backdoor doesn't even exist, and yet the UK is insisting that Apple break their promises and have it installed. Meanwhile, they've done the same for WhatsApp's end-to-end encryption as well, despite the fact that nobody can read those messages, not even WhatsApp, allegedly. Now, lots of tech companies may follow suit in pushing the UK on this one. At least you'd hope so. As I mean, when you've got Meta of all companies fighting for data protection against your own government, you know you're cooked. The measures are likely to play right into the hands of populists like Nigel Farage, and it could very likely win him the next election, as it's such a terrible, awful look for Labour and Starmer to force this through despite the immense backlash. All Labour have done is dig the hole further and further, with how deeply the public no longer trust the government of England anymore. It's so bad that members of parliament now label those who don't agree with this bill as siding with predators by opposing the Online Safety Act, calling people Jimmy Savile supporters.
Verifying your age keeps a child safe, keeps children safe in our country. And I say to people like Nigel Farage, who want to turn the clock back and wants to just overturn these regulations, every time he does this and says it, he makes children more exposed, more susceptible to dangerous content.
It's a really disturbing, stupid attempt to silence criticism which everyone can see through. And the worst part is that this isn't just the license-happy UK nanny state. This is a coordinated, choreographed effort by major Western governments to limit internet freedom. They've wanted this for years, and it's finally coming to fruition. Just take a look at some of the other measures they're drafting across the democratic world. In the European Union, under Denmark's 2025 presidency, they've revived the chat control legislation, which aims to mandate client-side scanning of all private messages, even on encrypted platforms like WhatsApp and Signal, all to ostensibly detect CSAM. But what this is really doing is effectively ending end-to-end encryption and opening the door to mass surveillance and systemic security vulnerabilities, which is all part of their wider Protect EU initiative, which seeks to enable lawful decryption of private communications by 2030. Then we have Australia, arguably the most aggressive Western country when it comes to taking away internet freedom, as their e-safety commissioner has sweeping powers to now demand content takedowns within 24 hours, including posts on private messaging apps, and non-compliance of this can lead to millions in fines. As Australia has criminalised end-to-end encryption resistance. Under the Toller Act, the government can legally force tech companies to build backdoors into encrypted apps like WhatsApp and Signal, and gag orders prevent them from telling the public. And they too are also pushing for facial recognition technology to enforce age verification, also that they can ensure who uses social media and who doesn't, even going as far to apparently ban kids from social media. In the US, we have the Kids Online Safety Act, which gives the government and state attorneys general power to control online content that could be deemed harmful to minors. But like all of these governments, the language is vague. It's clearly just a front to control and regulate more of the internet. And the US is even trying to push through the Screen Act, requiring comprehensive age verification for all users on the internet, potentially ending anonymous browsing in the US as a whole. It's clear governments around the world are suddenly in unison, quietly and rapidly coordinating to take unprecedented control of the internet under the guise of just protecting the children. It's like the Simpsons meme of saving the children. Ireland is now proposing a law that will allow the government to scan your private messages directly on your phone before you even send them. Not by breaking encryption, but by implementing client-side scanning, which means the government could get access to your messages before they're encrypted straight from your device. And the UK is already a step ahead on that. In the Online Safety Act, they give Ofcom the power to mandate the same kind of invasive surveillance, scanning your messages before they even leave your phone, something straight out of Minority Report. And this isn't hypothetical, this is now reality. We are currently witnessing a horrifying force to control the internet, and this should alarm everyone watching this video right now, as the internet as you know it is being taken away from you in a coordinated global government effort, and nobody voted for any of this. But if you really want to understand why they're doing this, you can have a look at this video where we predicted 2 years ago whether governments in the West would take away our freedoms online. In the video we'll lay out exactly what you can do about all of this, so check out this video right here about 1984 now.